Hey, James.
Hey, good to see you, man. Again.
Ooh, give me O.
Yeah, it's funny. After we talked last week, I was like, "Oh, geez, I get to talk to you again! Yay! I love this." First of all, we kind of touched a little bit on you're kind of playing heroes a little bit in kind of genre specific movies. What is it about Finn? What did you like about Finn? This seems like such a great role that I don't think you would have necessarily been cast in general.
Yeah, I think maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, I wouldn't have been cast as Finn because for a myriad of reasons, one of which being, and probably the main reason being, that you don't typically think of characters like these as being anything but white men.
Yeah.
So the fact that we exist as more than just the kind of background or supporting characters is a you know something that I was happy to get to like sort of portray in this movie. And then apart from that, sort of I love the idea of Finn being like I play a lot of nice guy, sweet guy characters,
Hmm.
with the exception of Promising Young Woman, where I play an absolute sleazebag.
Oh, you were a dick in that. Oh my god, I hated you in that movie.
A lot of people did. My DM certainly let me know that.
Oh my
Um,
god.
I was like, whoa, this is a
It's
movie.
just a movie, guys. It's
A
just a
movie,
movie.
you guys. But with Finn, sort of the energy, or sort of the idea of a nice guy who is confronting what it means to be nice,
Hmm.
and a person who is a reluctant leader and hero, but kind of like facing all these things, and like what is the sort of balance between being in charge and being nice, or being accommodating and being authoritative, or an authority,
Yeah.
uh, and so I found that like an interesting dynamic to kind of like explore with this, and I think that on the page it's very much a study of that.
Well, let's be realistic here. On the page, you have this amazing group. You have these very wild characters all gathered together, driving each other crazy. This was shot before pre-COVID, right? This was shot. I mean, that
We
it's
finished this
really
movie
perfect.
right before everything shut down, so like sort of the parallels are kind of crazy of like of
They're
everybody being,
shocking.
it's shocking, really. A movie about everybody being like sequestered and like locked in on this thing with this mysterious, unknown force outside that is also could be within, and somebody might be it, and somebody might not, and like kind of being afraid of it, and like trying to figure out as a community what to do about it. It's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that must be strange to get to have this film kind of coming out now, and especially what we're dealing with. It's getting theatrical, I believe,
Yeah,
right? So
June 25th,
that's
theaters.
fantastic. So, I mean, what have you learned from the past few months?
uh, I think you know what, that's a good question, because I feel like the past 16 months, the premise of the movie is that we don't know who, if there is, or who or what this creature is,
Yeah.
and who among us might be that person. And I think the past 16 months it has been that a little bit, where everybody has like a fear of each other, because like, are you carrying this thing that I'm deathly afraid of, and that is
Mm.
like wreaking havoc on our society? So like sort of a study of that, and then like thinking about what that this movie does with that, and like what emotional fears, how we sort of interact with each other with this like looming fear of what that, because we don't know what the other person has done, or is
Yeah.
coming from, or who they fully, like not knowing who each other fully is, and how much do we trust each other, is like an interesting sort of thing, because like you have to have trust in order to have a society, right? In
Yeah.
any sort of like size of it, be it in a relationship of two people, a family of five people, a town of 300 people or a world of 7 billion people, you know? So like, sort of like, what are the interactions and what are the things that we look for and fear in each other? And like, how do we overcome them, or what do we listen to? What do we ignore? Is sort of like an interesting thing that I think we do in this movie, but like, I've had 16 months after we wrapped it to kind of think more on that. And I think we really touch on that in this movie.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, as an audience member watching it, you're like, oh my god. I mean, look, this is nothing new. We've seen this in genre from who knows how long. The Thing, The Mist. I could go on and on and on and on. Why do you think genre lends itself so well to kind of putting a mirror on society?
I think genre lends itself to that sort of like societal mirror, in that, you know, you're able to heighten certain aspects. Like in this one, the intrigue, you know, having there be an actual monster really personifies, or, you know, if there is a monster, if there isn't a monster, like having like this solidified thing to fear, you know, like with it, or like the Thing, these things, like it is it's no longer, it's a tangible, you know, a tangible thing that you can put all these sort of ideas on. So like genre lets you like directly address these notions that maybe are an undercurrent in more traditional films, you know, that's a sublayer, but this one is an overlay, which I think is really cool about genre, you know. And
now, are you a horror fan in general? Are you because you do some great comedy, man. You're just so funny, but you obviously are good at this too. Are you a fan of this?
I am. I'm very much a fan. So I was like really excited to get to be in. I'm a fan of genre across the board. Truly,
perfect.
Like Skyfall, they're right back there. I love a Bond movie. You know.
Well, what about? I gotta ask the Boogans.
Have you seen the Boogans? I don't know the Boogans. I gotta admit, but I do love horror.
Well, you gotta watch the Boogans. Well. We have time for one more question. You're awesome, dude. I love talking to you. Where, you know, with this, what do you hope people get out of this movie? I mean, obviously, Josh has a way of creating tension and laughs. What do you hope audiences get with Werewolves Within?
Well, I hope that audiences will kind of watch this movie and kind of, you know, kind of follow along with the journey of it and have laughs and scares, and sort of like see like some of the social political commentary undertone and social environmental undertones and sort of like messaging in there. I hope that comes through in a non-overhanded way that doesn't overtake the story, but sort of like enhances it. And I think this movie will kind of, I hope this movie will make its way into like the lexicon or the pantheon of you know, horror movies and sort of whodunit movies, like, you know, Knives Out, Clue, you know, Hot Fuzz, Fargo. I think this is like kind of a companion to those movies. So I hope it becomes like, you know, you never want to say I hope it becomes a cult classic, but I really think if I was a kid, I would watch this movie 100 times.
Oh hell yeah, I'm gonna watch it 100 times. Dude, you're awesome. I love talking to you, dude.
Oh, thanks,
seriously. I'm gonna hit you up on Twitter. Look for the review, the interview. You're great, man. The movie's great. Go see this movie. That's all I have to say.
Awesome, thanks, dude. I really appreciate it.
Cheers, Sam.